Hello, and welcome to the Hypno Travelers on the Magical Psyche Highway podcast. That's right. Your host and tour guide is Scott Prevet, a healer, hypnotist, and a magician. And your bus driver is Jason Gobelli, also hypnotist, an entrepreneur, and a spiritual guide. Disclaimer, neither Jason, Scott, or any of our guests here today are licensed professional psychologists or psychiatrists. So please don't make any changes to any medication or treatments that you are currently on based on the conversation that you hear here today. Just hop on the bus and enjoy the ride. Trip with us on the Inner Revelation bus. That's right.
Hi, I'm Jason. Welcome back to the Hypno Travelers on the Magical Psyche Highway. We are excited today. We got a great guest with us, but before I tell you that, I'm by myself. I'm not with Scott. Scott's stuck in the mountains with bad reception, stuck in the hills of West Virginia. So you're stuck riding the bus with me with no tour guide, but that's okay because we got a great guest. And our guest today is Grace from Grace on Fire. Grace, how are you? Welcome.
I am wonderful, wonderful. Thank you. Thank you for this opportunity. I'm excited.
Yes, we're excited too, Grace. It's good to have you here. Shall we get started? Let's go right away.
Absolutely.
Who are you and what do you do?
I am Grace on Fire, and I do a lot of things. I'm an author, I'm a speaker. Most of the important thing that I do is that I channel my son, John, from heaven. And I also lead dances of peace all over the world in schools in Central America, third world countries, Mexico. But I bring him with me. I channel his love through the dances, and then I channel his messages through books and channelings. I have an audio, radio, and my Grace on Fire podcast. We highlight people, have conversations, and then I leave a message at the end from my son, John.
Beautiful. Grace, you got so much going on here, so let's talk about that. Let's delve down your highway and find a little bit about who you are. So first, the most important, let's talk about you and John.
Yeah, most important. He's my beloved son, 25 forever. So I'm 47 forever. So it works for me. He passed at 25, just got his master's degree in finance with a minor in math and philosophy. He was president of Young Americans for Liberty, founded One World Community, and was recognized in Washington, D.C. for his One World Community. He's always an honor student on the international honor rolls and everything. Tragic, devastating loss for me, for many, many people. So many people love John. He was a leader, a global leader, recognized in Washington, D.C. for his One World Community. And I keep him alive by forwarding his One World Community Global Movement for Peace. And I channel his messages. I've been talking to him since the day he passed every day.
So how did he pass?
My son passed from an accidental overdose. He did have fentanyl in his blood, so we don't know if it was the drugs or the fentanyl, but it was an accidental overdose. It was definitely an accident. He had just bought a house. He had just had a new job, was excited, new girlfriend, ready to start life, excited. But he's told me in channelings that was his contract. That was his time to go. That was how his soul had chosen to go. And he and I had scripted it all before he came down. I was a little unhappy that he went before me, but.
Yes, that's a little rough dealing with the pain. Not a little, a lot of rough dealing with the pain of a loved one and a kid. So I get that. And thank you for being open and sharing that with us. So let's talk about this accomplishment. One World, what is this all about?
One World Community is a global movement for peace. John created it for a peaceful, thriving, and free world for all. And we have events. We have events throughout the year, and they're fundraisers, Fund Aware. John created them as Fund Aware. So we raise money for our nonprofit Center for Awakening. And it's a youth outreach. We help youth that are in need or homeless youth all over the world. We've been doing it since John was bringing homeless kids into our home all through junior high and high school. And I go to the third world countries So we raise money for that so we can help schools and orphanages and bring food to communities that are in need. And then the events are events for peace. We do meditations for peace, dances for peace, ceremonies for peace. I do them all over the world. And it's just a wonderful time. We connect with our higher source, the God of our understanding, and come together in peace. It's a fun time.
Wow.
Yeah, it's also, John, it's a fair local movement, so it's very detailed, but the events are the most fun. It's where you can get in it really quickly. You can also come to our projects in third world countries, helping to bring food to the people or the orphanages, food, clothes, supplies. We help out schools and we do dances a piece.
Wow. So John was doing this when you were around. Were you working with him when he was around?
Oh yeah, we were working on it together. I also have a yoga school, so he was just about to enroll in my yoga teacher training, and and we do yoga at the events as well. He and I just worked a lot. He was at all the events. He was actually my videographer for my Grace on Fire podcast, and he and I have supported each other through everything. He was helping me with the nonprofit. He I have a lot of people that help, but he would help and come. We do holiday hand ups. So he would dress up as Santa and bring all big bags of toys and drop them off at people's doorstep or the shelters or wherever we would go to bring things. But he was just really very passionate that all people were thriving, peaceful, and free. He was very passionate about that, and he created a fair local movement where we have a store, John's Place. If you buy from the fair local stores, you can be guaranteed that the products are from fair trade, not from slave markets. So now you're not promoting slavery, but you're promoting fair trade and local. He believed in, keeping the money in the community and supporting the community, especially in third world countries where they really struggle to make a living.
Nice, nice. So is that your only child, or do you have any other kids?
I do. I actually have two on the other side. One didn't make it at birth, and then I have another child that's living, and I'm so grateful and blessed to have and grandchildren, and so I'm blessed and I'm grateful. It's taken me a long time to get over John. I still grieve him every single day. I miss his physical presence. He's quite an anomaly, though, because he's been physically manifesting since he passed to at least 50 people. We have hundreds of accounts of him coming over from the other side and appearing for many people, and only once for me in my house, in my hall. He showed up in my hall several times. I've only seen him once, so I'm hoping for many more visits. I've read books, and I know that that's very possible, and souls can do it. I want it to be a regular relationship. Just like we talk every day, it'd be amazing to have him physically manifest.
So then, what about your other child, the one who's alive with the grandkids? Do you see them much? Are they active with One World with you as well?
All the time. I'm actually over her house right now, and I just my granddaughter had a little elementary school graduation, and my daughter has been very active with Center for Awakening, the 501c3 nonprofit, since her and John were going to feed in the food banks with me since they were 3 and 4. And my daughter actually arranges. We feed the youth at the youth homeless shelter in town. We go down to the streets and feed the homeless people on the street regularly, a few times a month. And my daughter, she's amazing. Since she was a little girl, she's been involved. She got on the board when she was 17 or 18, and now she organizes the meals, and she's incredible.
So you got the whole family involved then. You got the grandkids involved and everybody, huh?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, my grandson, who's 17 now, he was helping to feed since he was 8, 9, 10. Still comes out on the street with us, and yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful. So yeah, so that's nice. So are they channeling John also? Do they hear from John?
No, they don't hear from John, but my grandson has, John has physically manifested for my grandson, my older grandson, probably 15 times, 15 accounts where he's come into his room, lit up the whole back wall. And my grandson says it was a light that he can't even describe. I was on the phone with him when John showed up that night, which was amazing, and John moves a little. He hasn't talked when he's manifested, but he's bowed and he's waved. So he waved to my grandson. He showed up in my house. I had my back to him. My grandson looked right at him, and he appeared behind me, beamed at me, big smile, and then he disappeared from the right to the left in multicolored pixels.
Wow.
Yeah.
So let me ask you, so you got this going on, and with this was pretty traumatic with the loss of John, I'm sure, to the whole family. My question is that do you also, you're working with the homeless in that means that you're probably connected to a heavy drug situation. So do you have recovery-based programs involved with your thing as well?
I started a recovery center after John passed, but I didn't have the money to do it. It was One World Recovery in honor of him. But after many, many thousands of dollars and the property I purchased, we had to sell. But I do volunteer at the youth outreaches, and I'm also a life coach. So I do some life coaching with the youth. And I also teach some yoga for the youth and for, some of the recovery areas.
So are you primarily dealing with youth? Are you primarily dealing with youth, or do you have adults you're working with too?
My passion is the youth. They're the ones that usually come to the events. They're the ones that I usually help in the third world countries because I go to schools and orphanages. I think my heart is just set on the youth. I mean, when I was in college, I worked with the disabled youth. I worked as a preschool teacher, a fourth grade teacher. I babysat since I was 11. The youth are just, I think they're the future leaders of our world. They're the evolved human. They're our evolved species, our most evolved of the DNA. And I feel like, it's important for us to support the youth, the upcoming leaders of our world, our planet.
Nice. So let's switch gears for a second. Let's talk about those books. So what's your books called? What are they about?
Sure. Well, I've written a few books since John passed. I've written 4. My newest one that should be published this week is What Happens When You Die: Exploring Eternal Life. That goes into immediately after you die, crossing over, your life review. There's always a celebration when you do a final crossover after your life review. Then your timelines and all the opportunities that you have on the other side. Also the opportunity to come back to reincarnate on Earth, or many, many of the physical dimensions and opportunities that we have to manifest. John tells me that the Earth is just the rock star planet because it is offers a significant amount of contrast for a soul. And so we get a lot of soul growth and soul expansion when we come and have a life on Earth because of the contrast. But there's many, many, many opportunities from the densest to the most subtle, non-physical experiences. Once we, even now, we're living simultaneous lives. We're incredible. We're all souls. We're not bodies.
Nice. What about your other books? What are they about?
So my the first one I wrote was called Attention. One of the first channelings John gave me. I was in such a deep state of grief and depression after he left for a long time, and it's called Attention. You will always get more of what you focus on. So he always would tell me, Mamas, you will always get more of what you focus on. You'll always get more of what you focus on. You need to be vigilant of where you direct your attention and make sure you're always directing your attention where to what you want to create, towards what you want to create. So he's my mentor. And so that's my first book. It's Attention, and it just talks about our attention and directing it, and how powerful our attention is. And when we bring our attention to different thoughts, we're, in different energies, different vibrational frequencies, we're going to be attracting that to our lives. We are so powerful. We have so much power, which simply how we direct our attention. So that was the first book. They're all both by John and Grace. The second one was Empowerment, and I really love that one. That one was, they're all basically, John channeled them for me because I really, really needed help. And he told me that everything that he says to me, it applies to everybody. We're all souls. We all come from one source, and we're all having this very similar experience, just through different lenses, but we all come from the same soul. So empowerment was really powerful for me to really look at some of the disempowering stories that I would believe, the different disempowering conditioning that I was raised in, and how we can move out of the lower frequency disempowering stories and really take charge of our mind and our thoughts and say, no, cancel, and then use that attention to direct ourselves back to an empowering point of view.
Nice. So let's ask this, Grace. Let's switch gears again. So when did you have that first moment where you thought, wow, the moment when I can really help people? I really have something in me that's going to help people. When did that come about? What was that like?
I've always been in the helping field as a life coach, as a healer, as working with the youth, teaching the youth. But I think after John passed, it probably took me a good 3 years. I've helped a lot of people who've lost children, but you can't compare. You cannot compare. I just went through a really tough time. John and I are twin flames. We have lived every lifetime together. It was very difficult for me to lose him. I left my body for 3 years, and I didn't realize it till about 3.5, 4 years after he passed. But I just left, and I just worked on channeling. I just spent most all my time walking and talking to John and meditating, best I could, because it was hard to meditate. But I kind of left my body. I didn't have a lot of energy. Things like taxes, going to the doctor, getting my hair cut, all that stuff, opening mail. For 3 years, I didn't do any of it at all. And then I started coming back after 3 years, and that's when I started to feel I could help people. So I got my yoga school registered with Yoga Alliance, and I have been doing, it's been 5 years now, I've been having a yoga teacher training. And every spring and every fall, ecstatic yoga, sacred embodiment. And I feel like I really help people in that regard, because yoga is such a powerful path to enlightenment. It's such a powerful path to merging and feeling the connection with your divine and mind, body, spirit. And then the channeling and writing the books and speaking, I hope that helps people. I hope the messages. My last book that I did mention was Abundance. And so with attention and empowerment, abundance, and what happens when you die. Of course, we never die. We're eternal life. That's why it's called Exploring Eternal Life. And I think my greatest help is the service work, going to Central America and doing the dances of peace with the kids in the schools. And I do them regularly in the United States, and just having people circle up and dance. It raises your vibration. You move into very ecstatic states, and it's in community. It's not associated with any religion or political preference or any particular spiritual path. It's just basically we come together and we dance simple dances for peace, prayers for peace.
Nice. So there's a lot going on. So let me ask you another question. Besides John, who are your mentors?
Well, I have my Dance of Peace mentor, my life coach. I was through Clarity Coaching. We it's mostly the work of Byron Katie. So she's one of my mentors, just always questioning the thoughts and helping people to question their thoughts and turn our thoughts around. They're probably my most impactful mentors, but I would say John is my main mentor in this life now. I mean, his messages, well, he's my personal mentor. He's also my personal guide. And I talk to him every day, and he's my twin flame and my best friend. But, he will know exactly what he reads my mind, of course. He'll say, you need to forgive that person, or, that person is not going to be around a long time. You want to have this might be the last time you're with him, so make it great. And so I have a little bit of an inside edge, I guess. He's my mentor, and he says that once you cross over, you can see future lives, past lives, future timelines, possible timelines. Anything you want to bring your attention to see. There's nothing in the universe that you can't know.
Yes. Nice. Nice. Well, speaking of nothing you can't know, what's your plan? Do you have a goal set for the future? Where do you want to go with this?
Yeah, thanks for asking, Jason. I think I'm going to really continue doing what I do. I'd like to dance anywhere in the world. Anyone wants to invite me to dance or speak or channel messages. I do events, so I do ceremonies. I can do channeling events. I do dance of peace events, meditation events. And so I love doing that. Continue to write. I have a lot more books to write. I have probably 20 titles, so I'll get that. I have a blog with most of the books, some messages channeled by John. I'll continue. I regularly go to serve the youth here in United States, but I go every February, March to the Central America and out of the country to do the projects. So I think I'm just going to keep doing what I do. I'd love to get on more podcasts. I'd love to sell some more books. I'd love to speak more places. I'm just here, really here in service of the divine. Truly care to use my love to spread to the children, especially through the dances and through. I also with the nonprofit, the youth outreach. I have some properties in United States and Costa Rica, so we want to create farms. I have a couple farms already, but they're just starting. Just a compost toilet, we're trying to make them off grid. But a place where the youth can come, so they can come to dance, they can come to do yoga, pray, meditate, have a spiritual place of sanctuary. So that's one of the things I'm be doing.
What do you call your farms?
One World Sanctuaries.
One
They're in
World
honor of
Sanctuary.
John, and the one that I have two now. Well, I have a few pieces of property, but two are official sanctuaries, and one is in Lava Hot Springs, Idaho. He had told us before he passed a couple weeks, we'd all decided, my daughter saw something online that you could be a tree when you pass away. So we all were so excited to be a tree. We decided we'd be a tree in lava. And then I knew all his wishes when he passed, which was pretty much of a blessing. But we have a shrine and a tree there, and we do yoga retreats and dances of peace retreats, meditation retreats there. I have a sweat lodge. I can lead sweat lodges. So right now it's beautiful, beautiful property. It's just about a mile walk. It's 17 acres, but it's a mile walk to all the hot springs. And we're hoping to drill down deep enough to have a few of our own hot springs on the property.
Nice. So you said John wanted to be a tree. So is he that tree, or do you know?
He is that tree. So his ashes are in that tree, but not all of his ashes. So I have a tree in Costa Rica on our farm in Costa Rica. I have a couple farms in Costa Rica, and he has a tree in one of the farms there. So I have a sanctuary for him in Costa Rica and in United States.
Nice. Nice. Wonderful. Well, you got a lot going on, Sarah. So let me ask you another question. How do our viewers get a hold of you?
Excuse me?
How do our viewers get a hold of you?
Oh, they could email me at grace@oneworldstudio.com. I check it once a week. So if I don't get back to you right away, I've got a few emails, but that's the best way. You can also go to oneworldstudio.com. And I think you can contact us through that website, or grace@oneworldstudio.com. But oneworldstudio.com has pretty much, it has my radio channelings, my audio channelings, my blog. It has all the books that I've written. It has my Grace on Fire podcast and a lot of my talks over the years. And it has a calendar and event page for all the events, and a connection to the Center for Awakening website, centerforawakening.com too. And it's volunteer run, and if anyone wants to donate, we're 501c3. Everything goes to the kids.
Nice. Well, man, you got a lot of places where we can reach out and find you. So that's always good news. That's always good news to hear. So now let's talk about this Grace on Fire, man. How long have you been doing that?
So I started in 2016. My daughter and my son-in-law, both, all three of them helped me. And then when John passed towards the end of 2017. So I took a pretty much of a break, and I think I've done maybe 20 guests since he passed. I haven't really, I'd like to put some energy into it and do some more of it. We'll see what happens. Maybe it'll come, much more back to life as I come back to life and come back into the world. But I would love to. So in Grace on Fire, what it is the first 15 minutes, we totally highlight the person. They come up with the 3 questions. I'll ask them, and I just ask the question that they give me, and then they talk about themselves, and it's all about, promoting them. Then we have next 15 minutes, we just have kind of a back and forth conversation. And then the last 10 or 15 minutes, I'll channel a message from John.
Nice. Well, you're nicer than me because I didn't ask you for any of the questions. I just gave you the ones I wanted.
Perfect.
Anyway, Grace, so that's wonderful. I bet you've met some nice characters over the years. Have you learned a lot on your podcast?
Yeah. We have people on the property now, but we're wanting to have food forests on the sanctuary. We have a little garden. We have a compost toilet. We have some solar. We're wanting to create it all off grid with food forests and animals and art and events.
Nice. Wonderful. Okay. So do you have anything else you want to add?
I'm just here. I'm here to serve the divine. I'm here to channel my son. I don't actually channel other people, like people have asked me, but John will channel other people at times. I've had that happen a lot, where sometimes I'll hear the other person's voice and personality, but it always comes through John, because I know John's energy. He was pure love, pure light, always helping, always kind, most popular kid in high school. I mean, he was just so loved. And when you're working on the other side, you just don't know the energy. Just like when you're here in this planet, you want to surround yourself with people with good energy, and good thoughts and good vibrations. So that's why I channel just John. But I am a life coach. You can get on oneworldstudio.com and book a mentorship. Some people will ask questions to John to connect with their loved one. I have done that a little bit, but it always goes through John.
Nice. Okay, so that said, I've definitely enjoyed traveling down your magical psyche highway. It's been a pleasure, but I'm not through yet. I have one big question. The big question for us. That is, what are your words of wisdom for our viewers?
Oh, let me see if John has something to say, because he's much wiser than me. I mean, he says we do this. This is the co-creation, and our souls are always one. But let's see what he has to say. Remembering what you are, remembering that you are an infinite infinitely wise, non-physical, divine expression of pure power, pure love, and pure light. And this is your true eternal identity. And when you can always come back to remembering what you are, and that you are your source, that you are your source of love, you are your source of motivation, you are your source of inspiration. And to know that that source, when we dive deep into that source, that love is infinite and never ending. And that wisdom and that beauty and that grace is never ending. And it's within each and every one of us. And to simply take moments through the day, every day, to close our eyes and dive in and bask in and absorb this divine frequency that is what we are, lifetime after lifetime after lifetime, journey after journey after journey. We are this divine soul. And remembering that through the ups and through the downs, that we are pure extensions of the divine creator source made in the likeness and image. And that presence is always available at all times within each and every one of us.
Thanks, Grace. That was awesome. Thank you, and thanks, John, for those words. We thank you, and it's been a pleasure having you on the show. It's been great traveling down your highway. We've certainly enjoyed it, and for our guests out there, we hope you've enjoyed the show too. If you liked us, give us a thumbs up. Be sure to subscribe. Share it with your friends. If you think we're assholes, we don't care. Give us a thumbs down. We're just glad you're here, and we hope you come back next week. So thanks again. Thanks for coming.
Wow, what a trip. Thanks for taking that journey with us today. Please like us, share us, and enlighten us with your views of the topics we drove into today. We appreciate you and love reading your comments. Thanks again, and we hope to see you back on the bus next week. That's right.